So I've come to my local wildlife reserve. It's a short walk from my home, and I just kind of wanted to get out of the apartment and enjoy the last of the sunshine. It's getting dark at about 4:30 these days, so light is in quite limited supply. We have a viewing on our apartment this afternoon. It's the first that we've had so far, so I've been cleaning and tidying for most of the afternoon, and I took a bit of time off work to do that, so fingers crossed. I'm really hoping it goes okay. Today I really wanted to share a bit about what I got up to over the weekend. It really felt like one of the most magical weekends I've had in a long time, so much so that on Monday when I went back to work, it kind of felt like I was living a bit of a lie in a way. It was really strange. I was speaking with Chris yesterday about it, and he said he felt the same, like the life that we live Monday to Friday is kind of a half-life, or not our real one, and we're just counting down the days until like the real versions of ourselves can emerge and do the things that we want to do and do the things that, you know, uplift us and nourish us. And yeah, it was just really strange. It's something that I think both of us have been feeling for quite some time, but to really tangibly feel it and recognise it is something a bit different for us. So anyway, back to the weekend. It all started on Saturday morning when we went to our local refill shop in South Wales. It's set on a National Trust estate in this beautiful old outhouse. It's really lovely there, and usually I go once a week because it's a short walk from the office where I work that I go into once a week. But I haven't been there for a while, so we had a lot to refill. They are also stocking the last 3 copies of field notes. So if anyone is interested, let me know and I will direct you to where you can buy those copies. I also have, I think I've got 1 copy at home spare. So again, if anyone is interested in buying the final autumn volume editions of field notes, just reach out to me and I will get those shipped to you. After the refill shop, we went to my mum's to pick up the strimmer, and we spent most of the rest of the afternoon at the allotment. We had quite a few things to do there. It was relatively straightforward, but it did take us around 3 or 4 hours to kind of clear things up. So firstly, we wanted to strim, and that would probably be the last time we strimmed the grass there for the rest of the year. Next, we wanted to weed all of the beds and basically pull up any dead plants and put them in the compost bays. We still left things like some of the dahlias, I think there was some zinnias that we left, and a few other flowers, but generally we just let everything go straight into the compost. Third thing was to lay down all the cardboard, although we didn't have any cardboard, so we lay some cardboard down in the compost bays, and we're slowly collecting things over the winter to lay down and act as a bit of a natural weed suppressant It doesn't work too well because the couch grass that grows at my allotment is vicious and really invasive and just gets in all of the soil, but it's better than nothing. And unless I laid down like a kind of dark plastic for probably a year, I don't think I'd be able to do anything. And since it's potentially my last year at the allotment, temporary and natural and sustainable is fine. The fourth thing was to plant all the bulbs I had. So I'd bought quite a few onion and garlic sets, which Chris was in charge of, so he's put all of those in the soil, and then I planted all of the daffodils and the alliums that I had. That was probably my least favourite part, actually. Chris really enjoyed it because he said he could really see how things were taking shape, and it was like a marker of progress, and in a few months' time he'll be able to see the shoots coming up. But it was very methodical, and I didn't really know what I was doing. I've never planted bulbs before. Other than onion and garlic, and I had quite a few varieties of different alliums and narcissum, but I just put them quite sporadically, and I think I should have been a bit more thoughtful about where I placed them. And then the last thing, which I also didn't do, was pick flowers, but I did go there last night to pick some flowers. The dahlias are still blooming. They've been doing so well this year, but the weather is also quite warm, so yeah, it's nice to still be able to take those from the plot. And then once we'd finished at the allotment, we headed home, and as part of field notes I wanted to include like quite a winter cookie recipe, so I made some ginger and turmeric spiced cookies with loads of different types of flour. I think I used oat flour and a rye flour, or maybe spelt, and put in fresh ginger, and they were really lovely, and I took some photos of those the next morning. I've been really into baking lately. I've been trying to build a sourdough starter, which isn't going that well. It's not been rising kind of at all. I think the problem was that I was putting a screw top lid like tight, fastening it tight, whereas now I have taken the lid off and I've put a piece of parchment paper over the top with an elastic band, and I'm hoping that will help it rise. I've been keeping it in my airing cupboard where it's quite warm. So yeah, I'm hoping that that will help it get going. It's only been active for just under 2 weeks now, so if anyone has any tips on why a new starter isn't really rising, please let me know. But I might start again. But as well as the sourdough starter, I've also been baking loads of yeast-based bread. I've been experimenting with a few different recipes and different amounts of flour. I think the problem I had when I first started doing it was that the yeast I was using was really old and the dough was never rising. So I got some new yeast and that seems to be doing a lot better. But the other problem I'm finding is that the Dutch oven that I'm cooking in is probably too big, so it's so wide that the bread isn't supported to rise, so it's kind of like spilling out into a flattish loaf. But it's really delicious, the ones that we've had so far, so that's been really nice. So then on Sunday morning, which I didn't think I was going to do, but I did, and I am so glad I did. I got up for sunrise. I drove about 15 minutes down the road from me to the seawall on the South Wales coastline. It was just the most magical day I've really had in a long time. I think that really made it. The whole weekend was magical, but that moment in particular, it was really something. I need to be getting myself up earlier to go there more often. Good morning. It is 6:20 and I've just got here. The sky is already nearly light, which, no, that's a bit of an exaggeration. It's getting light, which I didn't expect. I thought to be here an hour early it would still be pitch black. But yeah, it's really comforting to see. I slept really poorly last night. I don't know why. I think I must not have slept until about midnight, and then I woke up at 5, like wide awake. It was quite strange. It was like that school feeling of, oh my god, if I missed my bus and overslept. But also a Christmas Day feeling. I don't know, I just feel like today is going to be kind of special. Didn't realise the moon is still up as well. So beautiful up here. I can't believe how quickly it's gotten light and the sun still has half an hour to go. I thought it would be a lot colder this morning, and it's cold, but it's not, I could probably take this jacket off and be okay. It's so peaceful. The tide is just coming in. It's quite loud. So the River Severn is one of the most fluctuating tides in the world, I believe. But at the moment, most of what I'm seeing is just like wet sand, and then the water is quite far out. Usually there's a lot of people fishing around here, but there isn't anyone at all. It's kind of eerie, but also really nice. There's a lot of birds around. Everyone's starting to wake up. It's also a bit of a shame. It's one of the most industrial parts of Bristol, just across the river, which kind of spoils it slightly, but in the evening when you see the light reflecting on the glass with the sun, that's quite nice. But yeah, generally I always wonder, what would this river have been like, you know, pre-industrialisation, before the 2 Severn bridges were built? You know, what did that landscape look like? I've taken the lid off of my tea because it is scalding, so I'm hoping I'll be able to drink it soon. I'm really surprised how awake I feel as well. I thought I would be absolutely shattered. I think that will come later, maybe. And it does make me want to get up earlier and, you know, wake up with the light and try and make the most of the day. With filming, the changing in light in winter it makes things quite difficult. Last night I was trying to bake those turmeric cookies and like hurrying to get them out of the oven before it got too dark, and the darkness comes so quickly, but then exactly the same as the light. But yeah, it's a bit challenging, so I do wonder, should I be getting up earlier? But I don't want to be tired all the time as well. I still want to love what I do and not resent it. I used to write quite a lot, and I started taking commissions for it for quite a while, and I still love doing that, but it definitely changed the way I felt about writing. And most of my writing I did when I was in lockdown, and when I came out of that and managed to get myself a job finally, my love of writing also then completely plummeted because I wasn't doing it when I wanted. I was having to squeeze it into all those free moments that I had few of. It makes you wonder how creative and innovative people would be if we weren't having to fix what we love into such short periods of time. You know, how much more would we be capable of achieving? There are so many birds just travelling over from this left side. I'm not sure where they're coming from, but I've seen probably a few thousand now making their way and then just sweeping straight across and going somewhere over there. Without a doubt, one of the most beautiful mornings I've had in a long time. Oh, that sun. It's not even warm, it's just like the brightness just like fills you with a kind of like happiness and energy, as if there was like any doubt that it was actually going to rise this morning. The moon is still out, the birds are loud and beautiful, and yeah, there were moments like watching the sun just about to crest and the clouds had taken on this really deep pink and orange, and it's those moments where you just think this world is absolutely beautiful. I think perhaps we don't have those moments enough. Well, it's the start of another new day. I think I'm going to go home now and go and dye my tote bag and do a couple of chores. Amazing, amazing. And then when I got home, I worked on dyeing a tote bag that I've got that I'm going to embroider. So I had it soaking for about 24 to 48 hours in a soy milk mordant, which was going to help the dye or the natural dye penetrate the fabric of the tote bag. I actually used loads of old coffee grounds that I'd had used from my coffee machine, and I let that soak for a couple of hours. It came out quite well. It ended up being a sort of light brown beige colour after I'd finished, but today I realised I wanted it a bit darker, so I've let it sit again in used coffee grounds, and then I'm going to embroider that with an autumnal or winter themed embroidery pattern over the next couple of days, and hopefully I'll be able to put up a few tote bags that I've embroidered on Etsy this weekend. Okay, so I've put the tote bag into the coffee mixture. The bag is kind of folded in on itself, so I think in about 20 minutes I'll open it up and turn it over so that there's a bit of an even dye. It looks like it's quite a nice beige already at the moment. I'm worried that because I'm using spent coffee grounds I might get a bit of a different result, but yeah, I'll just wait and see. So I'm going to leave this now for about an hour and make some breakfast because I have been up for far too long without any sustenance. Once I'd finished mordanting and dyeing the tote bag, I spent the rest of the morning kind of doing chores and catching up on a few personal things, and then in the afternoon Chris and I went to a soup and starlings event which was held at the local RSPB reserve near us. I love starlings. I don't know why, I've just got this kind of fascination with them, but I've never seen a full murmuration of them, and I did a bit of searching and I saw that they were hosting these soup and starlings events, and yeah, we went at about 2 o'clock and we had a bit of a information session by some of the volunteers that were there and a cup of tomato soup, and then they took us out onto the reserve to see a murmuration taking place. I wasn't sure that we were going to, but it seems like it's kind of expected that you would between around November and December time. It was quite quick, it didn't last very long, but it's breathtaking to watch, and the sound of the starlings like rushing overhead was really amazing. I didn't expect it to be that kind of experience and to be able to see them so closely. They shot straight down into the reed bed where they were murmurating over, because there was a peregrine falcon and a marsh harrier, I think they were called, so two predatory birds swooping around. So the starlings kind of ducked down for cover, and the murmuration didn't last that long, which was a bit of a shame, but it was still so beautiful, and it means that I know what to look out for next time. I've been told that there's a big reserve down in Somerset where they can get up to 1 million starlings in a murmuration, so I might go down and see that. It's about an hour away before the end of the year, and hopefully see one of the murmurations there. And that was kind of the end of the weekend, but it was, I don't know, I moved, I was creative, I was outside, it was everything that I know really fulfills and nourishes me. I also went for a run on Friday evening, which I hadn't done in quite a long time, and my legs were aching for quite a while after it, but it just got me back to a point in my life where I felt really in balance and really satisfied and content. I just wish that that was my life all the time, which is probably unrealistic, but I don't know. I've said this in previous videos that I struggle with the feeling like I'm missing out on something, and maybe I'm being missold what life should be like, but I don't think I am. So yeah, that was the weekend. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I am really grateful for everyone who watched my last video. It got about 1,500 views, which I never expected, and I'm really grateful for everyone who left a comment and who has subscribed since then. Let me know what you thought of this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and if there are parts that you like to see more or less of, please let me know. But yeah, thank you so much for coming along on this journey with me. I know I'm just at the beginning, but I'm really excited to see where this goes. I'm really excited to share the Field Notes winter work that Emily and I have been working on over the past couple of weeks. We're hoping to publish by around the winter solstice. We'll see how that goes, but yeah, that's the current goal. Anyway, it's getting quite cold here and I need to get going back home before our viewing, fingers crossed. So yeah, thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one.